Today we're going to review some strategies to stretch your hamstrings. Now the most common way of stretching our hamstrings has got to be the toe touch. And that can be great if you have a healthy, stable, strong low back and you're doing this in a controlled movement. But oftentimes we'll see somebody going to stretch their tight hamstrings and end up with a lower back injury. Going down in a bit of a sloppy manner, hanging out, and then coming back really sloppy and getting into a bit of a tweak of the lower back. Now remember, whenever we're working on one area of the body, we don't want to improve that just to trade that for a different injury. So let's review some strategies on how to best stretch or mobilize those tight hamstring muscles that most of us have from sitting long days in our society. So importantly, we want to keep that spine straight through all these movements. Again, we're focusing on the hamstrings, not focusing on the lower back. So why are we moving the lower back in the first place? So here's how we're going to get into that. Nice straight leg, straight knee, sitting back. See, the spine is still straight. I'm pushing back into my hips. Kind of think almost like a Romanian deadlift in a sense. Nice and straight, going backwards into that. Substantial stretch through those hamstrings. Now, we can go ahead and raise those toes up for even more of a stretch. Keep them down if that's too much. You can bend the knee slightly to get a different aspect of your hamstring as well. But making sure that we're keeping that spine nice and straight as opposed to curled in a forward flexion. Now another great tool to utilize would be a stretching strap. So I can go do the exact same exercise through here. I'm going to put that through the bottom part of my foot there, get into this stretch, and pull that upwards just to get a little bit more of a stretch to my hamstrings. Again, not aggravating the lower back. Another really great safe way to go is to get down onto the ground, utilizing one of these stretching straps, putting my foot through it. Back is straight, making sure I'm not arching my back, but keep my belly button down, and bringing this upwards. You can find that point of tension, hit a little bit of shakiness, you stay there. You can ramp it up a little bit by coming off about 10% and then trying to straighten your leg back down to the ground, but I'm holding onto these bands, so that way I can't. This is helping to fatigue that hamstring muscle. Going pretty hard here, close to maximal effort for about 10 seconds to fatigue it, and then relax and go in a little bit higher. You can take yourself through multiple reps of that to get to that desired ideal 90-degree range of motion while also protecting your back. Now, other ways we can utilize this, we want to make sure we find out how we can do this seated, if that's a safer position for you. So seated, think of everything being the exact same here. Nice and straight back, leg straight, tilting through the pelvis. Pushing my bum back and leaning slightly over top of it as if I was doing a deadlift. Again, if I want to ramp that up a little bit, do that and bend through that. Substantial hamstring stretch while not aggravating my lower back at all. Now let's just say rather than global tension in your hamstring, you have a very specific point of tenderness or tension. Lacrosse ball on a firm surface. I'm using a bench here, which might be okay for some of us, but for most of the time, we're going to use a firmer surface. So maybe you're on a wooden box, maybe you're on a kitchen counter, a firm stool. You're going to find that tender point. So let's just say for me, it's right in that middle of the hamstring. I'm going to put the ball down there. If I can handle more, apply some pressure on top of it, and then go into extension. Straighten my knee and leg out, bringing it back down. Keep that going. So just like any of the other rolling videos that we talk about, you want to do this until the pain or discomfort reduces by half. That's usually about 3 to 5 minutes. Now, you should find a spot that's at least a 4 to 10. Anything below a 4 to 10, not really important because you are pushing your body against a ball after all, so a little bit of discomfort is normal. And it should never be above an 8 out of 10 either. That's going to be too much intensity for you to actually get the resolution you need. There's another kind of rolling where you're going above 8 out of 10 just to get through an event, but we're here talking about relaxing these tight muscles. So you find that sore spot and go up through that and keep repping that out, or just apply the pressure if that's enough for you until the pain goes down by half. Now you can get to the outer part of the hamstring, the inner part, making sure you're working through bicep femoris, semitendinosus, semimembranosus, all the components of the hamstring where they go around the knee but also up into the hip. So it's important that we are moving through the knee and the hip. Noticing I'm not saying that any of the hamstring attachments go to the back. So let's stop stretching through our back and aggravating the back just to loosen up our hamstrings. Hope you enjoyed this video.